Hello everyone, Charles Watts here, the Arsenal correspondent at Goal, joining you on Thursday morning, 2 days away from Arsenal returning to action in the FA Cup. It's felt pretty weird this week. No Arsenal game in midweek. It feels like an age ago already that Arsenal went and won so convincingly, played so well at West Brom last weekend. But we are back in action in 2 days' time, and we'll be speaking to Mikel Arteta this morning, in fact, and with his press conference ahead of that game. And I'll try and pop on at some point during the day to discuss what Mikel Arteta had to say and look ahead to that Newcastle game with a little bit more detail, certainly looking at the latest team news as well. Fingers crossed we're going to see Thomas Partey return on Saturday for the first time since that game at Spurs, which feels an awful long time ago. Partey back training now this week. All as long as everything gets the green light, then he will be back in action on Saturday, and that will be fantastic news for Arsenal, as he's going to completely transform that midfield, as I've been saying since he signed. But unfortunately, we haven't been able to see much of him. I think I spoke to Mikel Arteta last week after the West Brom game and asked him, is it going to feel like a new signing? And he said, absolutely. He's our main signing in the summer. We've only had him for 2.5 games, so it's going to make a massive, massive difference. And Arsenal have certainly done everything they can during the last few weeks to make sure he's come back fully fit and fully strong, and we're not going to have a repeat of what happened last time he came back from his injury when he got the recurrence and ended up on the sidelines once again. So fingers crossed everything goes well with Thomas Partey, and we'll see him on Saturday. But like I said, Mikel Arteta will be discussing that in his press conference today, and we should learn more very, very soon about Partey's involvement and who else we're likely to see in the FA Cup on Saturday. Wanted to talk a little bit about transfers this morning, obviously right slap bang in the middle of the transfer window, and Arsenal, fair play to them, doing their business pretty early. Not really the business that a lot of you, I'm sure, want to see, but certainly business that is very, very important to them, and that will allow them to eventually do the business that you want to see, maybe not this month, but certainly in the summer. And that means getting players out first. That's always been a priority. Mikel Arteta hasn't hidden that. He said it a couple of weeks ago to me in a press conference, and that is certainly what Arsenal have been working on since the window opened, and they've been acting pretty quickly, which is good to see, and it's what you want to see. Kolasinac already gone. Obviously, he is spending the rest of the season on loan at Schalke. William Saliba, obviously, already gone. He will be spending the rest of the season with Nice in France. And Arsenal pushing hard to try and get some other deals done as well, which will free up space in the squad, free up space in the wage bill, and just give Mikel Arteta a much more manageable number of players to manage going into the second half of the season. The big one, obviously, is Mesut Ozil. What is going to happen with him? I did a video yesterday discussing that. If you haven't seen it, it's down below somewhere, so give it a quick watch. I'll just quickly run through the main points of that again in terms of Mesut Ozil. There is a chance he leaves in January. That hasn't always been the sort of stance that Ozil and his representatives have put out, but there seems to be a definite change in that. We saw the interview he did yesterday with ESPN with James Ollie, and Mesut Ozil's agent admitting there was a chance he could leave in January, although he did say that staying at Arsenal is still his priority. We know of interest from several clubs in the Middle East, from DC United over in MLS, from Fenerbahce, and Arsenal are very open to letting Mesut Ozil leave this month. They wouldn't be wanting a transfer fee. They have been in regular dialogue with Mesut Ozil's agent to try and facilitate that move. They've given Ozil a few days off recently to try and help get some sort of deal done with one of the interested clubs. Hasn't happened yet. Ozil is now back at London Colney, but that is all in the process of Arsenal trying to help facilitate a move and get Mesut Ozil off the books for the second half of the season. I know a lot of you won't be too happy with that because you all love Mesut Ozil. But I think right now where we are in the situation, there's just no way back, is there? He's not going to come back really for the second half of the season. He probably should. I wouldn't be against it. He'd certainly help out over the second half of the season, but I think we've gone too far. We're too far down that road with Mesut Ozil now for him to come back. It'll be a difficult one for Mikel Arteta to bring him back. So I think if they can find a solution, him leaving in January would ideally be the perfect one. To save Arsenal a lot of money, it means Mesut Ozil gets out to go and play again, which he really should be doing at his age, and fans across the world get to see Mesut Ozil play, which is what fans want, because Mesut Ozil's a fantastic footballer and we want to see him playing rather than sitting at home on a match day. So that's the latest with Mesut Ozil. Hopefully that is something Arsenal can get done, but they're also looking to get an awful lot out. We've got a big clear out at Arsenal. Hopefully this window, Socrates, Mustafi, Chambers, potentially Reece Nelson, even Joe Willock, players like that. Matt Macy's joining Hibbs, the goalkeeper, on loan until the end of the season. So there's plenty there. I think Socrates and Mustafi, two really key ones that Arsenal are looking at. We know both of there's interest from Italy in both. Being reported over in Italy that Genoa are looking at both players as well. Socrates, obviously former player, and Mustafi another option for them as they look to bring in a centre back this summer. So Arsenal are doing all they can to try and get these players out the door, and that will free up spaces on the wage bill, and it will certainly help them reduce the numbers, which is vital because Arsenal's squad is far too big. I think we all know that. The fact that Socrates and Mesut Ozil didn't even get registered in the Premier League told its own story. The two loan players there, maybe even three loan players. I wouldn't be surprised 3 English players go out the door before the end of the transfer window. It'll be interesting. Certainly Callum Chambers, I think that would be right for all parties. He needs to go out and play. He needs to get some minutes. He needs to get fitness in his legs again. Not really going to do that at Arsenal over the second half of the season, given the number of centre-backs they've got. I think it'd be great for him to go out, get some minutes and then come back in the summer. Reece Nelson again. I think certainly with Saka now moving out to the right. You've got Pepe, you've got Willian. Where's Nelson going to play during the second half of the season? He needs to go out and get some minutes. And so I think if something could happen with that, there's an option. If someone comes in for him, it wouldn't surprise me at all with him. And Joe Willock as well is another one. Although he's been, fairly regular. Not, I wouldn't say starter obviously, but he's been in action a fair while. Certainly under Mikel Arteta. That those chances are beginning to dry up a little bit, I'd say now, especially with the emergence of Emil Smith-Rowe. And it wouldn't surprise me if Joe Willock, even if there was an option for him to go out on loan, that could be the case. And possibly could even have something to do with Arsenal's interest in Emi Buendia. So, as I'm saying there about this players going out, that can help bring players in. Should Arsenal get that done, it's something Mikel Arteta has already spoken about. And Emi Buendia is certainly a player that Arsenal have interest in. I've touched on that before in recent videos. Norwich playmaker. You'd think if Ozil does go, well, even if he doesn't, he's not going to come back into the squad. It's highly unlikely that Arsenal would be looking at the number 10 position. Edu's admitted it previously as well publicly that is a role that they need to strengthen. They've obviously, the emergence of Emil Smith-Rowe has maybe lessened the need to do that, but we know there's been interest in Isco potentially on loan. Emi Buendia wouldn't be a loan, that would be a permanent deal from Norwich. It'll take a fair bit of money, and I've spoken about it, the sort of difficulties of getting a deal like that done, given where Norwich are in the Championship, given the fact that he's got a long-term contract with them. They really don't want to sell. Daniel Farke's already gone on record and saying that himself, the Norwich manager. So it'd take a decent amount of money to convince Norwich to part way with one of their best players, if not their best player, the most creative player, at a time when they are really sort of honing in on promotion back to the Premier League. And when you think of the money that would bring getting into the Premier League, that shows how much it's going to take to sort of wave under their noses to try and get Buendia out the door halfway through the season. From my understanding, he's very open to the move. Obviously, why wouldn't you be if you're a Norwich player and you got a chance to go to the Premier League with Arsenal? Arsenal have got very, very good relationships with Buendia and his agents. With Buendia's agent, they've his same agency as Emi Martinez, Alexis Sanchez as well, and are in regular contact with them and have been long-term admirers of Buendia. They've watched him regularly. During the last couple of seasons, he was right high up in the rankings when it came to the former scouting department, who have obviously all been left recently after being sacked by Edu. But they'd watched Buendia a lot. They really liked him. They'd put forward a lot of good submissions about him to the Arsenal hierarchy. So he's very, very much on their list, and Buendia's representatives are aware of that. Like I said, they've been in regular contact with Edu for a long, long time over various things. But there's been no concrete offers from Arsenal. There's interest there. They know about it. Norwich know about it. But there's not been any concrete offers for him. That hasn't been coming. And whether that happens this window, I'd still be a little bit surprised just because of how much money, as I said, it was going to cost to get that deal done. But the clear out that I've mentioned at the start of this video, if they can, that all goes to plan and they manage to get all of those lot out the door, then that would certainly help with the possibility. And then I still think it's going to be down to Stan Kroenke agreeing to sort of release those funds or find those funds somewhere in the club accounts to sort of push through a move for Buendia. I still think the more likely option potentially is something for the summer when it comes to players like that. It's going to be very, very hard in January to get anything done, but Arsenal are open to it. We've heard that from Mikel Arteta recently, and as I said earlier, we heard from Edu not too long ago speaking at that fans forum about the need for adding creativity. So that's about it really from today's video. Just wanted to talk a little bit, like I said, about the transfers, where we are right now. I will hopefully be back later today to discuss the press conference and what Mikel Arteta had to say, and if there's any new developments when it comes to transfers on that front between now and then I'll certainly update you on that as well. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. I do appreciate your support as always, and please do stay safe wherever you are and enjoy the rest of your day.